I'm going to show you how my client Josh managed to get 35 signups in just 6 days for his latest coaching program, bringing him in a whopping £22,383. But what I'm most proud of is that I managed to save him 14.5 hours in consult calls that he would have normally had.
Oh my God! Wow!
My name is Luke Johnson, and people call me the OG of online personal training. I started online coaching in 2012, and I'm the founder of thebestptsoftware.com. This is what I'm going to go through in this video. So if you're a personal trainer, you'll want to make sure that you stick around to the end. Before Josh started working with me, he was closing at just 20%, and his best number of signups for his coaching program was 24. In closing at 20% for someone like Josh, who's got a big one, that's a social media following, it's frankly not good enough. I'm going to tell you the problems that Josh was facing, and you might even be facing them yourself. I'm going to reveal the results, and the title might have already given that away already, and how we went from 20% to 72.92% close rate without any secret sales hacks, and reducing his consult times from 45 minutes down to 25 minutes. But more importantly, I'm going to give you the key takeaways and lessons that you can use for your own online group coaching. So let me give you a little background around Josh Taylor. He's a personal trainer who is a jacked geek who's into Warhammer. Josh has been in the game a while and has amassed a large following. This was Josh's third group coaching cohort that he was running, and he wanted help to make sure he had the best one yet. Launch 1 got 23 signups, Launch 2 got 24 signups, and our objective and target was 30. But the problem was, he gave me about 2 weeks notice to get everything set up, ready to go. So I needed to find out more information around Josh, his program, and some of the problems that he was facing. The biggest problem was that Josh was calling it group coaching, when in fact, it wasn't group coaching. It was one-to-one coaching with all the benefits of having a community, webinars, etc. The cost of his program, which is called The Resistance, is £621 for 9 weeks. So when you think of group coaching, you think of something maybe around $99 to $199 for like an 8-week period. So that was a massive disconnect right there. So we come up with a plan, which I'm going to reveal shortly, to overcome this. As I said, Josh was closing at 20%. And without disclosing the price before people could book in a consult call and labeling it group coaching, when he actually took the calls, which he let anyone onto, it was a big shock when you hit him round the face with a £621 price tag. And shortly, I'm going to show you how I managed to save me 14.5 hours by just one simple question. The other thing that Josh wasn't doing is he wasn't maximizing his big following on social media to promote his coaching program. He'd promote it a couple times per year, and he'd send people over to a generic landing page to get people to opt in, which is the old style of doing things. And you may have noticed that now, when someone clicks on the link in your bio, Instagram pops up with this message saying, be careful, do not leave the platform. So I addressed this by using a software called ManyChat. Those were the problems. Now it's time to create the plan. The first thing we needed to do was reposition the offer. Josh had stupidly called it group coaching with a price tag of £621 for 9 weeks, and then getting individual programs and support and weekly check-ins. It definitely wasn't group coaching. So that was the first thing that we addressed. And Josh even made an apology video, which I'm going to show you right now.
I've messed up so bad. So this is my apology video, because I'm a liar. I've lied to you, I've lied to those I've worked with, and I've lied to myself. So basically, I created a 9-week coaching program last year, and I've messed up because this whole time, I've been calling it group coaching. But it's not group coaching, because group coaching is cookie cutter workout programs with fuck all support and the personalization of unbuttered bread. In fact, I called it The Resistance because we were rebelling against all the shitty group coaching, because we build the program around you and all the baggage that you bring. So this is me fessing up and apologizing for any confusion and inviting you to be one of the 30 that we bring on to join something different, something better. But you got to comment resistance to get put on the priority list and nab yourself a spot. Thank you for listening.
The next thing we had to do was pre-qualify people. Now, it wasn't fair not disclosing the price, but that was one key thing I didn't want to put on the sales page, which I'm going to go through in a bit. But on the application form, we actually revealed the price and used a pre-qualifying question, which I'm going to go over to the screen now, and we're going to look through it. One thing I want to add is that Josh was using multiple pieces of software. So we basically took him from ClickFunnels, ActiveCampaign, Typeform, Calendly, and put them all on the Best PT software. So the software that you're going to see now on the back end, this is all on bestptsoftware.com. So this was his sort of sales page. Again, really simple. We had it on ClickFunnels. I took the URL, I pasted it into the Best PT software, and it just duplicated the page, and I made a few tweaks. So I didn't change any of the copy. It kept Josh, I call them Joshisms, so everything was on brand. This was what they was getting. And then they would click here to apply, and they'd go down to here. And that isn't a mistake. That's how we wanted it. And they would start the application. So this is the back end of the application. So as you can see, we've gathered the questions, the normal questions, phone number, etc., what their goals are. And then this was the key one, where can you afford £9 per day to get the results you desire? They could say yes, no, or not sure. You might be thinking, why are you saying not sure? And it's like, they don't know. They might be unsure. So what we had was conditional logic. So I'm going to move myself over here. And we said, if people said yes, move them. They don't see this. So they didn't actually see the price. But you can gather the price, what it was, because it was 9 weeks. And they went straight to this bit here. So if they say yes, we move them along. If they said no or not sure, we move them down to this slide, which would just be on a Typeform, moving over. And we actually revealed the price of the program. And then we just gave them two options. Yes, I can afford that. And no, sorry, I can't afford that. They said, no, sorry, I can't afford that. What we did was we disqualified after submit. So in the stats I'm going to give you at the end, there would have been even more people that got to this stage and didn't even submit the form. From this perspective, if people said they could afford it, or they answered yes here and they didn't see this question, then they were sent to the calendar booking page where they would book in a consult call with Josh. So that was one of the biggest things that we had. I'm going to go through how many qualified and disqualified in a little bit. What we had was when they submitted the form, they were either qualified or disqualified based on that question. And what we did then is we added notes, and then we created the opportunity on the pipeline. And we had a disqualified and qualified section, and Josh would have seen the notes that they would have had there. And if they were qualified and they hadn't booked in the call on the calendar, after 60 minutes, we'd send them an email going, hey, was there no times good for you? So that's what we had right there. If we go back here and a consult call was scheduled, we have an automation for consult call scheduled. They cancelled, and if there was a no-show. So when we looked at call scheduled, what would happen is it would move them along the pipeline stage. It would remove them from that previous one where we'd follow up. We'd add the details. They would be tagged with consult call scheduled. We'd have an email one, which is a confirmation and a text message. And then 24 hours before the call, they had another email. 1 hour before the call, they had another email. And 15 minutes before the call, we had a text message go out to them. And again, Josh would click on these. It'd be very simple. He would go here and he would just edit these emails right here. Let me make itself a little bit smaller. So he'd have it here and he'd put his own spin on stuff and using his brand and the language that he was used. So Josh always signs off with Snuggles Josh. So we just kept that consistent. The other thing that Josh also did was I said to him, of the morning of the consult, I want you to send them a personalized video or video just saying, hey, good to see you. Got a call later on today. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop it up on the screen and you can watch that very short video.
Hey, how are you? I hope your week is going well. I know it's only Tuesday, but still. Anyway, we got our call today, so just wanted to make sure that we're all good for that. If there's any issues, then just let us know. Otherwise, I'm super excited to chat to you, and I will be speaking to you then.
Automations as well as manual work of a little personalized video that would be sent to them via Instagram DMs because we'd capture their Instagram handle on the application. So remember before where I said Josh would typically send people over to a landing page and they would put their email in and they get joined onto the priority list. So what we used instead was a software. You can actually do this on the Best PT software now, where you don't even need ManyChat, where what we did first, and this is how Josh came about working with me. He got my free lead magnet, the Auto DM, and he started using it on here. So this is the automation. So he'd used my template. He created this one himself, or he adapted it, and he managed to collect 1,500 emails just from this automation. And this one was triggered if someone commented on a post, a keyword, bulk, or if they sent him a message. And what this does is it captures people's emails directly from Instagram DMs or Facebook Messenger. And what we did is we used Zapier for Josh because he was using an Active Campaign. That was the only thing we kept was Active Campaign because we didn't have a long time to transition all of these people over because we only had a 2-week period. And we used Zapier. So when people opted in here and they put their email in, we would use Zapier to send that over to Active Campaign. So we managed to get 1,500 emails from this automation alone. So once we did that, and when this was live, we also added another step where when the cohort period, the launch period was open for the resistance, it'd be like, oh, would you be interested in the resistance program? So we actually collected leads from this automation to our actual priority list. And that was a key thing that we wanted to have there. And as you can see here, we managed to collect 96. And this was just going, are you interested in the resistance coaching program? If yes, click here. And we managed to get 96 people on the priority list alone without them going off of Instagram and just collecting their email directly within Instagram DMs and sending it over to Active Campaign. So we repositioned the offer. We pre-qualified people. We started using social lead funnels. And then we got email marketing and priority list. So this was the key thing. So we want to grow the email list. We want to raise awareness on social media, and we want to sell via email. So what we did there, Josh already had this automation in place. It basically, if they were subscribed to a list or went through that social lead funnel, they'd be added here and they would just go through and they would get this email, which again, very Josh, just telling them exactly what it is. And we had sort of date that it would be starting on there. So that's pretty much all they got there. One thing you've got to do when you're launching is one, sell them to join the priority list. Don't call it a waiting list, call it a priority list, like a VIP list. So one, sell them on the priority list. Two, once you've done that, you then need to sell them into your program. So with Josh, because of the price point, he opted obviously to have consult calls. If it was a slightly lower price point, like some of my other clients, they wouldn't have any sales calls. It would just get them on the email list and then use some email marketing to nurture the relationship. And that's the thing what we wanted to do is sell via email. So what we did then was anyone on the priority list would get 24 hours access to just book a consult call there because there is limited spaces. We said we was originally going to take on 30 people. We managed to take on more than that, a few more. We had limited availability for Josh to take on calls. We had Monday to Saturday to take those consult calls. That was the benefit of being a priority list. You got 24 hours early access, sent an email to book in a consult call. Other thing that I want to go through now is we actually reduced the consult call. So this was Josh's calendar from May 20th to May 26th. Again, you won't see the names when I'm recording this. And originally he was doing 45-minute calls. And I said, Josh, you ain't got time for that. Think about if we do 45-minute slots. If you want to hit 30 and you're only closing at 20%, and let's say we're going to close at 50% now, we have at least 60 calls booked in, and a 45-minute period is not going to be the one. So I forced him to reduce the time and actually told him to undersell, which was very much as in, start here, here's the link, I got another call, love to have you on, boom, and off he went. And so we sort of undersold as well as reducing the time so we could take more people on. And because we pre-qualified now, we knew that the people on the consult calls had the money to pay for what he was charging, where before that wasn't the case. So this is just a pipeline. And what we had was disqualified, qualified. So the people were here in the qualified section, they qualified, but they never booked a call in because of whatever. They might have done it after it or closer to the time. It might not have been time slots. These were the people that booked a call in. These were the people that cancelled. And this was the people that actually signed up. So they would automatically move along due to the automations. And then once they completed their onboarding form, they would go here and we'd see where they were. And then Josh would just need to move them into client setup next time so we know that they were all set up. One of the good things about the software as well is you can take payments. It links up with Stripe and PayPal. And what we did here is we just created a product. So the resistance, and we used this as a trigger and had it on the order form page to make sure that people signed up, and then it triggered the automation. So here we had two payment options, again, which was key. I'll go through how many paid in full and how many paid for the free monthly option. So paid in full was 621, that one was 225, and obviously that would be 3 monthly payments, which would calculate to £675. So we'd use this information here, and then what would happen is this. When someone completed the order form, so there was a sale, We tagged them as resistance, purchase. We moved them to the sign up stage on the pipeline, which I just showed you. We sent them a welcome email. 3 minutes later, we had an SMS. So just sending them a text saying, thanks for signing up. And then we sent an internal notification to Josh from me saying, automated person's name just signed up to resistance. And that was my PSN name. So if you are on PlayStation, add me up. We waited 1 day and we sent them a reminder to complete the form. The other thing that we had was when they actually completed the onboarding form, it would move them to that pipeline stage. It would add them to the weekly check-in pipeline, which I'm going to go through soon. And Josh has another coach that works for him. So he assigned them to Tom. So we had that there. We had the notes of their onboarding form. So all of their information would be on that opportunity. We waited 5 minutes. We would then send an email to Tom from Josh saying new client signed up. They completed their form. So he knew when to go to work on the plan. Removed them from the other workflow. And then we sent them a thank you email just saying thanks for completing the form. Here's the next steps. People signed up. What we used is Josh uses a software called PT Distinction. So we set up a Zapier and we said if anyone, a bit smaller, if anyone's in this pipeline stage, so we can click on that there. So if anyone is moved to the resistance pipeline and signed up, then what we want to do is add them as a client on PTD and then add them to the group on PTD, which I think was named the Resistance May 24 group. We use all of the power of the software to take payments, manage them, and the weekly check-in. And Josh used PTD. Now, if you use Everfit, Tridis, Trainerize, Kahunas, these Zapiers can be set up and they can just automatically send them from there to there. So all the sets and reps, if you want to use Google Drive as well, that can be set up. So whatever coaching app you like to do the programming on, we can sync straight away when people sign up. And then finally, I'm going to go through the weekly check-in. So with PTD, it doesn't have a weekly check-in system, or Josh doesn't like it if it does have one. And what we had here was an automation. So where we have check-in reminder, I think on the Friday, which is Friday today of time of recording this, they will be sent a message, an email to them to check in, as well as one later on in PTD. And then what would happen is after a day, so fast forward 24 hours, people would actually be in here. So if they haven't completed, they would be moved to the incomplete stage and they will be sent a reminder email to be like, hey, check in, please. If they checked in, they would move over to green, amber, and red. So we had a conditional logic where if they said they had a great week and hit all targets, they would be green. If they said they had an okay week, they would go into amber. And if they had a red, like a bad week or bad week, they would go into the red column. So when the coach or Josh when Tom comes onto this, Josh's coach, he'd be able to work this however he wanted to. And I won't click on it, but you'd see all the notes from their check-in on the system. He would then manage to check in, give him feedback from that. And then once he's done the check-ins, he could click on that and move them straight back to check-in reminder, and they'd just be on a loop continuously for that. To the results. These were the overall stats. So we had 103 applicants, 68 were qualified, 35 we disqualified because we told them the price and they couldn't afford it. So it's like one of the gurus going, they just done it enough. Well, someone physically doesn't have that much money to give you in the next 5 to 6 days, then they're not got the money. We had 66 calls scheduled, 48 calls completed, 35 sign-ups, 12 calls were cancelled, 4 no-shows, which again is very, like a 6% no-show rate. So a 94% show-up rate is very good. And that was because of the automations, as well as the personalized video that Josh would send on the day. Overall, we had a 72.92% sign-up rate and an 18% cancellation rate. I'm not happy with that. I'd rather that be sub 10%. And then what does this mean financially? It means this. There is Josh. 23 paid in full, so £621 was the price. 12 payment plan, which was £225 over 3 payments, which is £675. So the actual cash collected that he had within that 6-day period was £16,983, with his total revenue, if all of the payment plan people to pay the 3 months, would be £22,383. So great results for Josh. I'm going to go over some key takeaways. 1, make sure you're not underselling your service. Now, Josh has his one-to-one coaching, and because this was like a cohort, there is a group element to it. He made the mistake of calling it group coaching when it wasn't. it was one-to-one coaching with all the additional benefits. So make sure you're not using like an internal term to make sense for you. This is my one-to-one, this is my group coaching, and undervalue and underprice your service. Now, it could just be a group coaching program where they don't get a personalized program or individual like feedback each week. If that's the case, then don't try and say it's one-to-one coaching, because then you're overselling and under-delivering. Whenever you're doing a launch, there's always phases to this. Now, the more time you have, the better it is. The higher the price of the service or product you're selling, the longer the launch period will probably want to be as well. The higher the price of the product or service, you may need to have an acquisition process of having a consult call. If it's a lower price thing, then it may not be necessary, especially if you give them enough information and you're providing value on social media and you've got good brand equity. So when it comes to the launch phase, I like the pre-launch, which is basically showing behind the scenes, being very secretive of what it is that you're working on. This could be some stories, this could be some polls, getting them to answer, I'm thinking of launching this, who would be interested, here's some names, here's a logo, here's some branding, whatever it is. And you want to get people to feel involved with that, whether it's answering a poll, filling in a question box on Instagram. That's what you want to do for the pre-launch. You could do this quite far back. Just make sure not too far back, but all you're doing is going, I'm trying to create some curiosity here. Then we have the pre-launch phase. So this is when you promote that you're launching it. So this is when you have your priority list. This is where you'd have content specifically around that, whether it's a carousel, whether it's a video, whether it's a promo video, and your phase there, the most important phase there is the pre-launch. Now, the key thing here is to have a priority list. What you want to do is take people from social media over to email. Social media is because where people are at. Email is where you're sending them more specific communication. And I'm going to go through quickly how many emails Josh sent and maybe show you one. You want to share on social, sell via email. One-to-many social media, one-to-one via email. Even if you've got a 5,000 email list, it's still that individual reading that email within their inbox. After the pre-launch, you've got the launch. What does that mean? Well, the pre-launch is normally like 24 hours or 48 hours before. And with the pre-launch, you want, as I said, you want to sell them on the priority list and you want to add additional perks. For Josh, it was just 24 hours access earlier. If it's something else, it could be additional bonuses for the first 10 people that sign up. It could be a cheaper price for that period, that pre-launch period, before you go into launch mode. Then when you're in launch again, you've given the priority list 24-hour access. As I said, you can have those additional perks. You could increase the price at a certain period of time if that launch period is longer. I'd probably recommend anything between 2 days and 7 days for a launch period for like a group program or anything that you're selling. Again, the bigger the price, slightly longer launch period that you would need. For example, Josh, I call his launch period the 6 days that he had consult calls. So it's slightly different on this occasion because it wasn't like a true group coaching program. Then close the launch. So there needs to be a close date. Now, whenever you're doing a coaching program, there's always going to be a start date for that. Now, what that does is it gives urgency, as in, well, you either got to sign up beforehand or you're going to miss out. So that's good urgency there. When I talk about perks and benefits and stuff like that, that is scarcity. So if you only had 10 additional bonuses, it could be clothing, it could be some additional resources or whatever it would be. It could be a giveaway prize. You want that to have a limited number, and that's what scarcity is. Other things, definitely look at using social lead funnels. It's the new way. If you've got a social media following, capture people's emails in the DMs. Comment a specific word on the post, reply to a story, get them to complete that automation, capture the email, sync it up with the software that you use. Now, ManyChat, what we use, it has native integrations with ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, and ConvertKit. There may be a few more, but you can use Zapier. That's what we use to make sure that people went into the right list. Use email marketing to nurture prior to it. Like let them know, increase the frequency. So let's go over to actual Josh's emails and see how many Josh would have sent in that time period. So we've got, here we go. So from this period that he launched, I got him to say, I'm sorry. And that was basically because he said he was going to email them and he hadn't been emailing them. So that was a sorry one. It was like, oh, P.S. next coming days, I'm going to tell you more about the Resistance, my new program. What the Resistance is not, you can probably gather it from here, what you can expect. Resistance FAQ. And what you notice is, what we did is we had Resistance FAQ and a copy of it. What we did was this. At the time, he had a priority list. So if they wasn't on the priority list, we would have a trigger link. And within that email, let's go through it, you can see it. And what a trigger link is, or it might be called slightly different, is once you've already got the email, you don't want to send them over to a landing page to then opt in. Josh would put like these really good results and then test your trigger finger here. So if they click that, we already had their email, we didn't ask for it. It would automatically add them to the automation of resistance priority list. So that's why you'll see multiple emails with like a larger number, a smaller number. And that's what we had. There was like VIP access, applications open, previous clients, process, last chance again. So you'll see that there's quite a few emails over that period of time. You can see the dates right there. The other thing, it's important to use the automations to help maximize everything, whether it's from capturing leads, whether it's for nurturing those leads, booking in consults, making sure they show up, taking payment and syncing with your coaching software. It's obviously been blacked out, but I just created this simple data sheet for Josh. And all he had to do was just add a 1 in. So if he had a call, these were all the time availabilities that he had. If he had a call scheduled, put 1 in there. If that person cancelled, he'd put 1 there. And you'd see all of this information. So this is what I got him to complete. And where did I get all the stats from? Here, so these were the overall stats that we had. These are 72.73% full complete based on that. And then 72.92% close rate. Just want to say thank you for watching the video. I know it's been a long one, but hopefully it provided value for you and your online personal training business. If you want to learn more about how you can incorporate social lead funnels, check the description. And if you want to look at thebestptsoftware.com, again, that will be in the description. Thanks for watching. Build your brand, build your business. OG out.